Welcome to another Tech Help video brought to you by excellearningzone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. In today's video, we're going to see how to track your account balances and your daily transactions for your different bank accounts and credit cards and all that cool stuff in Microsoft Excel. This is part one of I don't know how many parts. We'll find out when we're done. So today's project is going to be how to set up a sheet to track what all of your account balances are doing, what they should be. Now, this isn't a substitute for reconciling all of your transactions with your monthly statement. That's a whole separate ball of wax. What I like to do is, on a daily basis, I log into my, the credit cards that I use on a regular basis, my important bank accounts, and I check what my balances are and see what transactions have gone through. Right, I log on to my Amex account, my Capital One, not a paid endorsement. These are just the accounts that I use. We're at my local bank account regions, and I see what has changed in the last day or two. And I want to keep track of what my balances should be. What the bank thinks I have and what other transactions they don't know about yet. And by doing this, you can keep a close look at what's happening in your accounts. Now, everything that I show you today will work in the free Excel online, so you don't actually have to have the paid version of Excel. If you don't know how to get a free copy of Excel, go watch this video and I'll walk you through it with an online Office 365 subscription that's absolutely free. I'll put a link to this down below and you can click on it and go watch that. This video is dedicated to my fiance, Lauren, because she wants to see how to do this stuff, and I know I can't sit down and show her how to do it one-on-one. There's just something weird about teaching friends, family, loved ones. I can do it with perfect strangers, and she can watch my videos. But if we sit down and try to do it like one-on-one at the computer, we butt heads. So that's just how it always is. And it's also like, how when you're trying to shoot hoops and you're by yourself, you can make them, right? And then someone else is watching you and you're like, oh, watch this. And you miss like 5 in a row. Same thing. Okay. I goof up too. So that's why I'm recording this video. Now, before we get started, I am going to consider this an expert level video. Now, I'm going to show you exactly what you have to do for this particular project. However, some of these topics that you need are covered in my expert level classes like tables and the SUMIFS function. So if you want to learn more about these things, then I'm going to recommend you go watch these classes. But again, today I'm going to show you exactly what you have to do to accomplish what we're going to need to get done, right? We're also going to cover conditional formatting, and it would be very helpful if you watch my free Excel Beginner 1 class. It's on my website. It's on my YouTube channel. Again, I'll put a link to that down below. If you watch that first before watching this one, then you'll have a leg up. So just a recommendation. But again, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. All right, so I'm going to head over to office.com, and I'm going to create a new Excel workbook. All right, and we're going to go right here, blank workbook. That'll open up this guy. There's Excel. And this functions very similarly to the desktop version of Excel. So regardless of which one you're working on, it should be the same for everything I'm going to cover in today's video. All right, so first let's start with our header row. I'm going to put in order first because I like to have a custom sort order. I like to be able to customize the arrangement of my accounts, right? I put the most popular ones that I use most often up top, and then I like the ones I barely use at all on the bottom. But sometimes I want to resort this maybe by the account name or by the balance, right? So it's nice to be able to go back to a custom sort order, and I'll just number these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in whatever order I want them in. That's just something I do, okay? Then, of course, the account name, just account is fine. Then we're going to do the type, and that's so we can track bank accounts, credit card accounts, loan accounts, investment accounts differently, and get different totals for each on the very bottom, which we'll do last. Okay, now I got 3 or 4 different terms here that I use that have meaning to me, and I know this is not exact accounting speak because I've had some accountants send me some emails before saying, hey, you're using the word wrong. Well, it's just what I call it, okay? So I'll give you my definition of what it is. All right, so we're going to start off with credit. Now, for your credit card accounts, that's going to represent your credit limit, your max credit limit, okay? For bank accounts and investment accounts, that's going to be your posted balance. So whatever you've got in the bank that the bank reports. So if your bank account balance is $3,500, that's what goes there. Okay? Okay. Most of this is for tracking credit card accounts for me. All right, the next column is going to be balance. Now for credit card accounts, that's going to be your posted balance. what the credit card company tells you that you owe them, all the transactions that have posted, and they're no longer pending. For bank accounts, I almost never use that column unless I use my debit card, which I never do. I try never to use my debit card. I always try to use a credit card, especially for online transactions, because you've got much better protections, but that's a topic for a whole different video. All right, next we have pending. And for that column, again, generally for credit card accounts, it shows transactions that you've made that haven't actually posted to your account yet, right? And if you have a credit card account, you know what I'm talking about, right? You got your balance, the stuff that's posted, your pending stuff that hasn't posted yet. And then finally, I'm going to make a transactions column. And this is where transactions that haven't even hit your account yet that you've made will be put right there. For example, if you pay your credit card bill, you'll put something in your transactions column for your bank account because the bank account doesn't even know about it yet. So it's not going to show up in your balance, not going to show up in your pending. And as soon as the credit card company processes that, then your bank will know about it. We'll move it over to pending. Okay? All right. Then we got your actual balance, and that is going to be a mathematical calculation of all of these things. We're just going to add them all up. That's what actually will be in your account when all of these things go through. All right, so if you got a credit card, you got a $1,000 max limit, you got a balance of 100, you got 100 pending, you got 100 in transactions they don't even know about yet, you actually have $700 in there. Okay, makes sense? Okay, so those are my terms. I use them. Please no hate mail from accountants. This is a quick summary sheet. Okay? Another thing accountants are going to yell at me about is I don't bother with pennies. This is just for my daily summary. I don't bother putting, $127.43. I just put 127 in there. Again, that's me. For my actual month-end reconciliation, where I download all the transactions and put them in my database, yes, of course I care about pennies there. Okay, so let's put in a couple accounts. I'm going to start off with number 1. This will be my PayPal account. All of my credit card transactions and stuff that process on my website come in through PayPal. All right, I'm going to call that a bank account, though, because that acts more like a bank account than anything else. All right, let's say I got $1,000 in there. And let's say there's $20 pending that I charge for something. Okay, we'll skip transactions for now. So the actual balance here is going to be the credit minus all the other things. So we're going to add those all together because I'm going to be entering in transactions that cost me money as negative values. Okay, so put negative 20 in there if that money is coming out of that account. Okay, if you're debiting that account. So this is going to be equals, and then we can just click on the cells, right? D2 plus on the keyboard, E2 plus F2 plus G2, and then enter. Yes, for those of you who know the sum function, you can use the sum function there if you want to. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. Okay? All right, next one. Let's do number 2. Okay? This will be my regions checking. Okay? Now notice this spilled over into column C. We're going to come right here. You can either click and drag, all right, or you can double click on that spot, and then we'll resize that column as wide as it needs to be to fit that data. Okay? Regions checking will also be a bank account. Let's say I got 1,500 in there. Okay? Now, let's say there are no transactions, but I still want to use that calculation there. I don't have to type that all in again. I can just use autofill. All right, so click on this little dot right there in that bottom corner. Notice how my mouse changed from a white plus to a black plus? Look at that. Click and drag down like this. All right, and there you go. I just copied that column down 2 rows. Okay? And yes, you can also double click on the autofill handle. Another thing that's also nice is to keep track of the date that these transactions or this account was last updated, right? So I just put in here date. Now, to put today's date in here, you don't got to keep typing it. Just press Control semicolon on your keyboard. Control semicolon. And every time you update that information, now you'll know the last date that you updated it was that right there. Okay? For those of you advanced Excel users, I have another video called Timestamp where I show you how to automatically update that date anytime this column is updated. So if you can have it in your VBA code, right, there's a sample right there, and you can apply that technique here so that anytime any of these are updated, this date will change. All right, that requires some programming. It's more advanced, and I don't think you can do it in the free Excel online. So you need the actual full version of Excel for that one. All right, let's add a couple more items. I'm going to put a 3 in here, tab, and it says, oh, fill cells with this formula. We create a formula for you that might be helpful. Okay, let's show the formula. All right, it says equals row minus 1. In other words, Excel's trying to put an automatic numbering system in there, which is the row minus 1. I don't want that. I'm going to ignore that. I want actual numbers in here because later on, if I resort this some other way by like account name, I want to be able to put it back in that original order. And if I use that formula, then this will always be numbered 1 through whatever. And that I don't want that. So ignore that. Sometimes these suggestions, you got to make sure you read them before you just say, oh, okay, go ahead. All right, let's put in here Amex. That'll be a credit account. All right, here you put your maximum credit line. Let's say $5,000. Okay. Let's say you got a balance of $1,200, so minus $1,200. Let's say there's $400 pending that you've charged that hasn't posted yet. Okay, ignore transactions for now. We're going to get to that. So there's your actual. Okay, and then, of course, update your date. Enter. Okay, home to go back to column A. All right, let's go 4, capital 1, credit. And notice here, if I just type in CR, it looks at the data above it and says, oh, you typed in credit before. Do you want that? If that's the case, if you do, yeah, just press tab. And it puts it in there for you. Okay? So your maximum line is 3,500. You got 90 outstanding. You got maybe 150 that you've, I wouldn't be 150 then. Let's say you've got 50 that you've paid that hasn't posted yet. And then your actual, okay, so we got to bring this down again. I'm going to show you a trick later on where you don't have to keep doing this. All right, double click there. That brings it down. Put in your date. Okay. We'll do 2 more. Let's do Fidelity IRA. That'll be an investment account. Maybe you got 10 grand in that. Okay, so the actual again, we'll copy that in a minute. 1 more. Let's say you got a mortgage. That'll be a loan account. And you got, let's say you owe $350,000 on. So nothing goes in the credit column. Your balance is $350,000. And yeah, I like to use numbers here. I don't like to actually use currency values with the dollar signs and all that. Just show me the numbers. I don't need all that crazy stuff. Okay. Bring this down. Put another date in there. All right. That's good enough for now. There's my accounts that I want to track right there. Of course, you type in all the ones that you have. And if you got multiple accounts, like I have multiple regions accounts, put in the names of each. All right. If you got multiple Amex cards or Capital One cards, put in their names. I'm just keeping this simple for now. All right, let's spruce this up a little bit. Let's add a little color. I'm going to select this row up here. Well, not the whole row, just those cells. Let's change the background to maybe green. I am going to left align this guy here, drop that down, go left text alignment. And then all of this stuff, I want right text aligned. So we're going to come over here and pick that one. There we go. So everybody lines up over their actual values. Numbers and dates tend to line up to the right. Text values tend to line up to the left. But I like this one over here on the left as well because it just kind of matches those ones. Now, for transactions, we're going to come over here. Now, normally I like to put this stuff in a separate sheet, right? Whenever I'm working on a sheet with different stuff, I like to put the different stuff in different sheets down here, right? With the exception of this, I like to see all this stuff on the same screen at the same time. I like to see my balances over here and my transactions over here. And we're going to make them 2 separate tables toward the end of the class. But for now, we're just going to put them as 2 separate side-by-side sections of the sheet. All right, so same thing. We're going to put in the order, the transaction, which is just a description of what you want to call it, like, you know, the payment to Amex or whatever. Okay, the account that the money is going into or coming out of, what's the amount, and again, a date. Okay? Now, usually, but not always, usually you're going to have 2 entries for each transaction, right? If you're paying your Amex, for example, all right, $200 goes into your Amex account and $200 comes out of your Regions checking account, okay? Usually, not always. Some things are instant. Sometimes, like I have a PayPal credit card. If I pay that, it instantly comes out of my PayPal account, but it doesn't get instantly posted onto my PayPal credit account. So I don't need 2 transactions for that, just the one. So I know it's coming. This is stuff that you know is coming. Okay? Give this a spruce color up here too. Let's go with, I don't know, orange. That's fine. All right. Same kind of thing over here. Here we go. Ready? 1. Let's do payment to Amex. Okay, I'll make this a little wider. Now the account. This account should exactly match this account. Why? Because we're going to use it to calculate the transaction total. All right, and it's got to match exactly. So I suggest copy and paste it. So copy Amex and paste it over here. And yes, for you advanced users, you can use a drop-down list for this. I do cover that in my Excel Expert Level 10 class. You can make a little drop-down list here to pick your account type instead of having to copy it. But to keep things simple, today we're just going to copy and paste it. All right, so what's the amount? So you're paying Amex. Let's say you're paying them $200 and today's date. Okay, now what's the flip side transaction? Well, still payment to Amex can go here. That's fine. What account is it coming out of? That's my regions checking. Copy that. Paste it there. And that's going to be -200. And format as a table. We're going to get to this later on. Not now. We are going to format these tables later on. Okay? Put your date in there. And these dates are handy too, because if this transaction hasn't shown up and it's now 7:20 and you're like, well, what's going on? Where'd that transaction, where'd it go? What happened? And you know to look into it, right? And this is also handy over here because if you have transactions that you do on a regular basis, like me, I pay my Amex bill a couple times a week, right? I don't like the balance getting really high. So I will leave this here. And when this transaction posts, instead of deleting this row, I'll just zero that out, right? Either put 0 here or just delete the value altogether, right? You can just delete it. All right, but for now, we'll leave it in there. Okay? I'll leave the ones that I do on a regular basis on the sheet. If it's a one-up, something random, like I wrote a check to, the florist for Mother's Day, then I'll put that one in there, delete it when it's done. Okay, now comes the cool stuff. Now it's time to put this transaction stuff in here because Amex should have $200 coming in and Regions Checking has $200 going out that we need to know about here in this column because this column shows me what actually will be in that account when all is said and done. To do that, we're going to use the SUMIFS function. Again, I'm going to show you right now what you need to know to do this, but if you want to learn more about SUMIF and SUMIFS, I cover them in my Excel Expert Level 5 class. SUMIFS basically says I want to sum up all of the stuff in one column where some other column equals this value over here. So for example, right here, I'm going to sum up everything from column N, where column M equals Amex. See how that works? It's a very powerful and versatile function, and I go over lots of examples in my full class, but this is how this works here. Are you ready? All right, so we're going to start at the top. Even though I didn't have any PayPal transactions over here, it doesn't matter. So this guy is going to be equal to SUMIFS, SUMIFS, open parenthesis. All right, first is the sum range, the actual cells to sum. We're going to click on column N. Okay, the whole column, that's fine. It says NN there. All right, comma on your keyboard. Next is the criteria range. Where are the criteria you're looking for? Right here, column M. That's what we're going to be checking. That's why that has to be exactly equal to the other guy, right? Comma, and what is criteria 1? What are you looking to check this against? Well, we want it to be equal to that value right there, B2. Because for each row, it's going to be different, right? All right, close parentheses, press enter, and I get a 0 there, and that's fine because there are no PayPal transactions over here. But watch what happens when I autofill this down now. Double click right here. Look at that. I get -200 in my regions, plus 200 in my Amex, and that is exactly what I should see over here. That is the beauty and the power of the SUMIFS function. Let's do another one over here, 3. All right, how about transfer to IRA? Okay, now what account is it going to? That's going to be my Fidelity IRA, comma, copy, Control C, paste. All right, let's say we're moving $500. Okay, today's date. Okay, and then again, now don't fill with formula, ignore that. I usually turn those off, but I leave them on for class so I can show you guys. All right, transfer to IRA is fine. Tab, and where is it? coming out of, again, regions checking. You can copy it from here. Copy, paste, and then put your negative 500 there. And yes, in the extended cut for that other video that I mentioned earlier, to do that timestamp thing, I show how to automatically put the negative on the next row down. That also requires some programming. But now look what happened over here, right? Fidelity's got 500 going into it, and now region says negative 700 because SUMIFS added up both of those things. Isn't that cool? Right? Now what's going to happen is a couple days later, all right, you may see the Amex post right away, which it usually does. All right, so you can just delete that. Okay, and then a day after that, you'll see the money come out of your region's checking account. You can delete that and watch your balance updates. And now it shows 500 in there. And I'll leave these here because that's a regular transaction that I always do. Okay. All right, so that's going to do it for part 1. Coming up in part 2 tomorrow, we're going to do some color coding. I like to see my accounts in different colors, and I try to use the colors that like that company has, like PayPal's blue, Regions is green, and so on. All right, and then we'll do some format painter action. We'll learn how to use the format painter. We're going to learn how to use conditional formatting so that all of our positive values show up as green and our negatives show up as red. Ooh, that's actually very helpful because if you're thinking of typing in like a transaction you made that's a check, let's say, and you just type in 50 and you'll just see that it went green. You'll be like, wait a minute, that's supposed to be negative 50. And so that just that color there, you get used to it and you want to see it. So I like using that conditional formatting. Then we're going to see how to format each section of that sheet, right? The account balances and the transactions as separate tables. And tables have a lot of benefits. I'm going to explain a couple of them in the next video. And then we're going to calculate some totals at the bottom so we can see what all of our bank balances is, what all of our available credit is, what our investments account add up to, what your loans are worth, that kind of stuff. So, and that'll be, again, using the SUMIFS function. And then when we're all done with that, I'm going to show you how to do all of this stuff in Microsoft Access. If you don't know, Access is actually my specialty. I do most of my stuff in Microsoft Access. So if you are one of my Access viewers, just stay tuned because the Excel stuff is for most people who don't want to be database professionals. I get it. Excel works great for 99% of things like that. But if you're an Access person like me, or if you're thinking about moving up to Access, we'll be doing the same thing in Access after part 2. So yeah, that's going to be cool. All right, but there you go. There's your Tech Help video for today. I hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I hope to see you for part 2 tomorrow. And I'll see you there. How do you become a member? Click the join button below the video. After you click the join button, you'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks. Silver members and up will get access to all of my extended cut Tech Help videos, live video and chat sessions, and other perks. Gold members get access to download all of the sample spreadsheets that I build in my Tech Help videos, plus my code vault where I keep tons of different functions that I use, and more. Platinum members get access to all the previous perks, plus all of my beginner full courses and one new expert course every week. These are the full-length courses found on my website, and not just for Excel. I also teach Word, Access, Visual Basic, ASP, and lots more. Now, when you do sign up to become a member, I need you to email me and tell me I want more Excel. The vast majority of my videos are for Microsoft Access because that's been my focus for the past few years. However, I'm happy to add more Excel videos if I get more Excel members. So make your voice heard, and I'll make lots more Tech Help lessons for Excel. But don't worry, these free Tech Help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments that you have. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. Click the bell icon to select all and receive notifications when new videos are posted. Want to learn more? If you're watching this video on YouTube, just click the Show More link below the video to find additional resources and links. You'll see a list of other related videos, additional information on the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted, so if you'd like to get an email every time I post a new video, click on the link to join my mailing list. If you have not yet tried my free Excel Level 1 course, check it out now. It's over 90 minutes long, and it covers all the basics of using Microsoft Excel. And if you like level 1, level 2 is just $1. And it's free for all members of my channel at any level, even supporters. Just email me and let me know you signed up as a member. Want to have your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my Tech Help page and you can send me your question there. And while you're on my website, be sure to stop by and check out my Excel forum. Be sure to follow my blog, and of course you can find me on Twitter and YouTube. And as always, thanks for learning with excellearningzone.com. I'm Richard Rost. See you next time.